In the second chapter, we learnt about consumption. Third chapter, we started studying about the production analysis. So production is a process where goods and services are created. For production, we need the factors of production. So in this chapter, we have already dealt with the factors of production and the characteristics of factors of production. Now let us study about production function. So what do you mean by production function? Production function refers to the relationship among units of factors of production inputs and the resultant quantity of good produced, that is output. So it gives the relationship between inputs and outputs. So production function means it gives the relationship between inputs. What are inputs? The factors of production are only called as input. Land, labor, capital, organization. What are the outputs? So based on the inputs, you get outputs. Suppose if it is a car manufacturing industry, the parts required for the manufacturing of car only is called as input. It may be iron and steel, it may be rubber, all these things are called as inputs. And the output is car. In our day-to-day experience, let us imagine that your mother is preparing chapati for guests who are coming for dinner. If there are 5 guests who are going to have dinner at your place, your mother needs to prepare chapatis for 5 guests. Maybe just assume that each guest is going to have 3 chapatis. So the total number of chapatis required for the guests is 15 chapatis. So chapati is the output. What is the input for chapati? You need wheat flour, you need oil, salt, water, stove, and the utensils. Then you also need land, because your mom has to stand on the land and then only she can cook. So land is the most important factor of production. We need land for every production. A tailor needs land, a teacher needs land. Without land, we cannot do anything. So these are the inputs for making the chapati. You need the raw materials, you need land, then you require the labor power, then you need to have capital. What is the capital? The money required to buy all these raw materials and the basic infrastructure in your kitchen. Then organization means the person who is combining all these factors of production in the right proportion. To make chapati, if you pour more water, it becomes wheat dosa. So there must be right combination of factors of production. So these are called as the inputs. So when you add flour for 15 chapatis, you get 15 chapatis. If you're going to have very little wheat flour, then you can make only 2 chapatis. So based on their inputs only, you get the output. So production function gives the relationship between inputs and outputs. So in the words of George Stigler, production function is the relationship between inputs of productive services per unit of time and outputs of product per unit of time. Shall I repeat it again? So according to George J. Stigler, production function is the relationship between inputs of productive services per unit of time and outputs of products. You get products as outputs per unit of time. So mathematically, production function can be expressed as quantity, or the output is equal to function of N, L, K, T, where Q represents the quantity of output, N land, L labor, K capital, and T is the technology used. So mathematically, production function can be expressed as quantity is a function. So quantity or the output depends on all these factors of production. land, labor, capital, and organization or technology. So depending on the efficiency of the producer, this production function varies. So all these depends on the producer or the organizer. The function implies that the level of output Q depends on the quantities of different inputs available to the firm. ஸோ அவுட்புட் எதை பொறுத்து இருக்கு, எவ்வளோ குவான்டிட்டி நம்ம போடுறோம். கொஞ்சமாக போட்டால் 2 சப்பாத்தி தான் வருது, நிறைய போட்டால் 10 சப்பாத்தி வருது. இன்னும் ஹோட்டல்லாம் எடுத்துக்கிட்டிங்கன்னா நிறைய இன்புட்ஸ் போட்டால் 500 சப்பாத்தி பண்ணுறாங்க. ஸோ த லெவல் ஆஃப் அவுட்புட், த குவான்டிட்டி depends on the quantities. If the quantity is more, the production will be more. If the factors of production quantity is less, then the output will also be less. So here the quantity is dependent on the factors of production. Factors of production are independent, but whereas quantity is dependent on the factors of production. So production function can be classified into short run production function and long run production function. So in microeconomics, the distinction between long run and short run is made on the basis of fixed inputs that inhibit the production. So what do you mean by that? The factors of production, certain factors of production are fixed. Some production factors are variable. So in the short run, you cannot change all the factors of production. So some factors of production will be fixed in the short period and some can be varied. Whereas in the long run, all the factors of production can be changed. இப்போ ஒரு குறுகிய காலமாக இருந்ததுன்னா, இப்போ ராத்திரியோட ராத்திரியாக செய்யணும்னா எல்லா ஃபேக்டர்ஸையும் மாற்ற முடியாது, லேண்டை மாற்றவே முடியாது. லேபரானால் மாற்றிக்கலாம், ஒரு லேபர் இருக்க இடத்துல 2 லேபர் வச்சுக்கலாம். இப்போ யாராவது வந்து ஒரு ரோட் சைடில் உட்காந்து போண்டா போடுற ஒரு அம்மா கிட்ட வந்து நாளைக்கு எனக்கு 500 போண்டா தாங்கன்னு சொன்னா கொடுக்க முடியாது. ஏன்னா அந்த அம்மா கிட்ட இருக்க ரிசோர்ஸஸ் ரொம்ப கம்மி. இது ஒரு 100 நாள் கழிச்சு நான் வந்து கேட்குறேன் எனக்கு தருவீங்களான்னு கேட்டால் அதுக்குள்ளேயே அந்த அம்மா என்ன பண்ணிடலாம், பெரிய கடாய் வாங்கிடலாம், நல்லா ஒரு பெரிய இடத்த வச்சு குக் பண்ணுறதுக்கு ரெடி பண்ணலாம், இன்னும் 2-3 ஆட்களை வேலைக்கு அனுப்பலாம். ஸோ during the short period, some factors of production only can be changed. Other factors cannot be changed. The factors which can be changed are called as variable factors. The factors which cannot be changed are fixed factors. So factors of production can be called as fixed and variable. Fixed means மாற்ற முடியாத factors of production are called as fixed. Variable factors of production which can be changed is called as variable. Short run means a period, a very short period. So in the short period, only certain factors of production can be changed. Whereas long period means you have lots of time so that you can change all the factors of production. So production function can be classified into 2, short run production function and long run production function. So to study the short run production function, we have the law of variable proportion. To study the long run production function, we have the law of returns to scale. So if this question is asked, what is production function or define production function, you have to give this answer. If they ask, how is production function classified? Production function can be classified into 2. 1. Short run production function as illustrated by the law of variable proportion. Long run production function as explained by the law of returns to scale. So first let us see the law of variable proportion. So what do you mean by variable proportion? The law states that if all factors are fixed and one input is varied in the short run, as already mentioned, this is a short run, so you have fixed and varied factors of production. So the law states that if all factors are fixed and one input is varied, input na factors of production adha input nu solrom, the total output will increase at an increasing rate at first instance, be constant at a point, and then eventually decrease. So here one factor is varied, one input is varied, and all the other factors are fixed. What happens if it is like this? The total output will increase. In the beginning it will increase, then it will become a constant, and then eventually it will decrease. Marginal product will become negative at last. So this is the law of variable proportion. The law states that if all factors are fixed, one input is varied or one factor is varied. In the short run, the total output will increase at an increasing rate at the first instant, be constant at a point, and then eventually decrease. So first it will increase, it will become constant, and then it will decrease. And marginal product will become negative at last. So what are the assumptions for the law of variable proportions? You might be wondering what is marginal product and total product. I will be explaining it in the next slide. So what are the assumptions for the law of variable proportions? As already mentioned in the first chapter, all economic laws are based on assumptions. So what are the assumptions for the law of variable proportion? 1. Only one factor is variable while others are held constant. That means constant means fixed. Only one factor can be varied. All the other factors are fixed. That's what it's stated here. All other factors are fixed and one input is varied. That is what is given as assumption. Only one factor is variable while others are held constant. 2. All units of the variable factor are homogeneous. I'm sure you would have understood the term homogeneous and heterogeneous. Homogeneous means same in all aspects. The skill of a laborer is same as that of the other laborer. In all aspects, the laborers are same. That is only called as homogeneous. Heterogeneous means they differ. They are different. So all units of variable factor are homogeneous. The product is measured in physical units. The product can be measured. 1, 2, 3, it can be measured. Fourth assumption, there is no change in the state of technology. Whatever state of technology is used primarily is used till the end. So there is no change in the state of technology. And there is no change in the price of the product. The price of the product also remains constant and there is no change. So these are the assumptions of the law of variable proportion. Now let us see what is total product, average product and marginal product. What is total product? It refers to the total amount of commodity produced by the combination of all inputs in a given period of time. So total means it is the amount of commodities produced by combining all the factors of production. ஒரு உற்பத்தி செய்யறதுக்கு எல்லா ஃபேக்டர்ஸ் ஆஃப் ப்ரொடக்ஷனையும் யூஸ் பண்ணி எவ்வளோ பொருள் வருதோ அதுக்கு பேரு தான் என்னது டோட்டல் ப்ராடக்ட். It refers to the total amount of commodity produced by the combination of all inputs in a given period of time. Or you can simply say it is the summation of marginal products. Total product is a summation of the marginal products. So TP, total product, is equal to sigma. Sigma means summation. You have to add all the marginal product. So how can you arrive at the total product? Total product is a summation of marginal product. So TP is called as total product, MP is called as marginal product, and sigma, this symbol, sigma, is summation, total. Next, average product. What is average product? How do you calculate average? The average economics mark of standard 11.4. How is it calculated? As soon as I give a test, each of you get different marks. So what do? Suppose if there are 32 children in the class, I add the economics marks of all the 32 children who appeared for the exam. The total, I will get a number, maybe 1200 or 2000 or 3000 depending on the performance. Then later on, I divide the total by the number of students who wrote the exam, that is 32. I get an answer. That is only called as the average. So how do I calculate the average? Add all the marks and divide by the strength of the class. In your 10th standard, you would have done like that. You had 5 subjects. So if somebody asks, what's your average mark? How do you calculate it? You add the mark of Tamil, English, Maths, Science, Social, and you divide it by 5 because there are 5 subjects. Then you say, I got 75%, I got 80%. That's how average is calculated. Likewise, here how do you calculate average? Average product is equal to total product divided by the total units of inputs employed. Okay. So average product is the result of total product divided by the total units of inputs employed. In other words, it refers to the output per unit of time. Per unit of time. Okay. So in other words, it refers to the output per unit of the input. It refers to the output per unit of input. So mathematically, AP is equal to TP divided by N, where AP is average product, TP is total product, and N is the total units of inputs employed. Next, let's see the marginal product. How do you calculate? It is the addition or the increment made to the total product when one more unit of the variable input is employed. Did we learn this already? Yes, in the second chapter, marginal utility. How did you calculate marginal utility? Total utility of n units minus total utility of n minus 1 units. Do you remember that? Similarly, marginal product is also calculated like that. There are two formulas. One is MP is equal to change in total product divided by change in n, or marginal product is equal to total product of n units minus total product of n minus 1 units. You have that in your textbook under 3.4. So marginal product is the addition or the increment made to the total product when one more unit of the variable input is employed. Suppose if there is one person, okay, the unit is one laborer is there and he is able to make 10 cycles. One laborer is making 10 cycles. Now the second laborer is employed. So when the second laborer comes, both of them are able to do 18 cycles. So what has happened to the total product? It has reduced. First it was 10. Now it has become 18. The total product has increased to 18. But actually, one person is able to do 10. Then two people must be able to do 20. So what has happened here? The marginal productivity has started to decrease. First it was 10. Now it is only 8. How do you calculate that? 18 minus 10. When I taught the second chapter, diminishing marginal utility, tabular column, I taught you how to calculate marginal utility. Likewise, again we have a tabular column. I will teach the same concept again so that you will be able to understand it better. Now come to the explanation part of the law of variable proportions. The table illustrates that there are 3 stages of production. So in the table you can see there are 3 stages. First stage, second stage, third stage. Though total product increases steadily at the first instant, okay, constant at the maximum point, and then it diminishes. So look at this table. You have the units of variable. 1 unit, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Total product. Total product is also increasing. 2, 6, 12, 16, 18, 18, 16. So what happens? Initially, the total product increases. Then it reaches a maximum point. Then it diminishes. 2, 6, 12, 16, 18, it has been increasing. Then it becomes a constant, 18, 18, constant. Then it diminishes, 18 to 16. So did you understand this part of the table? Total product. Though total product increases steadily at the first instant, it reaches a constant. Okay, at the maximum point, 18 is the maximum. Then it diminishes. It is always positive. It is positive. Throughout, it is positive. Now look at this. When the total product increases to 6, 12, 16, 18, 18, the marginal product increases up to a point and then decreases. Look at the second column, the margin product. Marginal product is also increasing, 2, 4, 6. Then what happens? It reaches a maximum, then it starts to diminish. It goes till 0, then it becomes negative. It becomes negative. So the marginal product increases, decreases, reaches 0, then becomes negative. When the total product increases, marginal product increases up to a point and then decreases. Total product increases up to the point where the marginal product is 0. So up to this point, the total product keeps on increasing. Can you see the table? Marginal product is becoming 0 here at this point. This is the point where marginal product is 0. But look at total product, it increases up to the point when marginal product becomes 0. Total product increases up to the point where the marginal product is 0. When total product tends to diminish, now the total product tends to diminish, but the marginal product becomes negative. The marginal product becomes negative. Hope you were able to understand this, girls. See here, there are 3 stages. Though total product increases steadily at the first instant, here it is increasing. It reaches a maximum and then it diminishes. It is always positive. Now come to this column. When the total product increases, marginal product also increases, then it decreases. This is a most important point. When total product increases and reaches the maximum, marginal product is 0. This is a very, very favorite one-word question for the people who set question paper. When the total product reaches maximum, the marginal product reaches dash 0. Or when the marginal product is 0, the total product reaches dash. That means it reaches the maximum. Okay. Now look at this graph. On the graph, on the x-axis, you have the units of variable factor. Which is the variable factor here? The labor is the variable factor. So labor is the variable factor. First they have 1 person, then 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The variable factor is increasing at a constant rate. There is no change. One by one it is increasing. 1, 2, 3. It is not like 1, 3, 7, 8, 9. It's not like, it is uniform. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the units of variable factor increases 1 by 1, 1, 2, 3. Here on the y-axis you have the output. You have the output. Output is taken for each units. 2 units are taken. 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 and 18. On the x-axis each unit represents 1 laborer. On the y-axis each unit represents 2 units of output. Okay. Am I clear? Are you able to understand? Now look at this graph. The total product is shown as a blue color curve, the average product red and the marginal product green. First come to this total product. Okay. When the laborer, 1 unit of laborer, they get 2. 1 unit of laborer, you get 2. Okay. For 1 unit of laborer, you get 2 units. Okay. Actually, this is not very correct. If you have it in the graph paper, it will be different because 1 is here, but they are measuring it here. So as given in the graph itself, I am trying to explain. Then it becomes 6. Okay, when it is 2 laborers, it is 6. When it is 3, it is 12. It is 12. When it is 4, it becomes 16. When it is 4, it becomes 16. This part. When it's 5, it has to become 18. Actually, 18 is here. Okay, so there is a slight difference in the curve, but you learn it like this itself. Whatever is given in your textbook, you try to follow it. Actually, when you use it or plot it in the graph paper, it will be more accurate, but in economics, we don't use graph paper. We will be using the plain white paper only. So you mark it in this way itself. Okay, after marking it, if you draw the line, you will get the blue color curve, that is total product. So total product is over. Then come to marginal product. Marginal product is the green color line. 2, 4, 6, then it reaches maximum, then it tapers, it comes down, it falls down, then it becomes negative. That's why we have marked -2 also here. Because of the green color, the marginal product curve, we have plotted -2. So it comes here. Then the red color, average product, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3.6, it comes down. So this is how you have to draw the graph. Now come to this table. How do you calculate the marginal product? I want to explain this again. We have already seen this in second chapter, but for your clarity, I am explaining it again. How do you calculate marginal product? First, 2, 2, you mark it 2 itself. Second one, this is 6 and 2. So how do you calculate? Here you have 6. Okay, 6 minus 2 will give you 4. Next, 12 minus 6, you get 6. Next, 16 minus 12, you get 4. I think now you will be able to remember or recall what we learned in the second chapter. Next is 18 minus 6, it is 2. Next, 18 minus 18 will give you 0. Next, 18. What happens here? It is 16 minus 18. It is 16 minus 18. So, minus 18 is greater. So, you put the minus sign, -2. This is how you calculate the marginal product. How do you calculate the average product? Average product 2 divided by 1. 2 divided by 1 will give you 2. Next, 6 divided by 2. How much will you get? 3. Can you see 3 here? Okay. Next, 12 divided by 3, you get 4. 16 divided by 4, you get 4. So, this is how you calculate the average product. Okay. So, the units of variable in the first column, then you have the total product, the marginal product and the average product. So, when the marginal product reaches the maximum, and when the average product also reaches the maximum, the first stage ends. So till this you have the first stage. The marginal product reaches the maximum, the average product also reaches the maximum. That is the first stage. Second stage, the total product reaches the maximum and the marginal product becomes 0. This is the end of second stage. The total product becomes 18 and the marginal product becomes 0. This is the point. So this is the second stage, end of second stage. When the labor is 6, it is the end of the second stage. When the labor is 3, it is the end of the first stage. That is what is being marked here. When the labor is 3, first stage ends. When the labor is 6, the second stage ends. The remaining part is the third stage. That is when the marginal product becomes negative. It is the third stage. Okay. So let us see the relationship between average. Let us see the relationship between total, average and marginal product. Total product, marginal product and average product. Stage 1. Stage 1. What happened in the stage 1? The total product was increasing. The marginal product reached the maximum. The average product reached the maximum. 2, 3, 4. So that is what is given here. Initially, it increases at an increasing rate and then increasing at a decreasing rate. At the beginning, it increases, then reaches a maximum and starts to decrease. Average product at the first instant it increases, then attains the maximum. This is the end of first stage. Second stage, it continues to increase at a diminishing rate and reaches maximum. So it was increasing, it increased, it became constant, and then it started decreasing. Marginal product, it continues to diminish and becomes zero. It continues to diminish 4, 2, then it reached 0. It is equal to MP and then begins to diminish. Here what happened? It became equal to MP and then it started to diminish. Third stage, it diminishes, it becomes negative, it continues to diminish but always greater than 0. So look at this table. It diminishes, it became negative, it diminishes but still it is positive. That is what is given here. It diminishes, it becomes negative, it continues to diminish but always greater than 0. That is positive. So what did we study today? We studied the production function, what is meant by production function, then the definition given by George J. Stigler, then the classification of production function, then we saw the law of variable proportion, then the assumptions, then total product, average product, marginal product. These can be asked as 2 marks question. Then we saw the tabular column explanation, graph and graph explanation. Then we saw the relationship between total, average and marginal product. Before I finish, let us see the questions given at the end of the chapter. 23rd question. State the production function. So this is production function. This is the answer. Define marginal product of a factor. For that, this will be the answer, marginal product. Then the next question is, bring out the relationship among total, average and marginal product. So this is the answer for question number 32. Give the relationship between total, average and marginal product. This is asked as a 3 marks question. Then finally a 5 mark question, 35. Examine the law of variable proportion with the help of diagram. I repeat it, the 35th question. It is asked as a 5 mark question. Examine the law of variable proportions with the help of a diagram. If that question is asked, you have to give the introduction, you have to give the assumption, then you have to give the table, the graph and the explanation for the table as well as the explanation for the graph. Since it is a 5 mark question, you can stop with this. If you keep writing everything, then time will not be enough. If you have time, you can just write total product and the formula for total product, average product and the formula for average product, marginal product and the formula for marginal product. I think we can stop with this, girls. Please go through the video lessons. Whenever you go through the video lessons, you have your textbooks open and you follow everything from your textbooks also. Then please do the homework given every day. Write the date in the margin, okay? Then you have to do the class works also regularly. Please study your daily lessons. Only if you go through the video lessons again and again, you will be able to understand. Because these are all very difficult concepts and you're learning it for the first time. And since we are not able to meet in the classroom and I'm not able to use the blackboard, I'm explaining everything through the slide, PowerPoint. This is also very difficult, preparing the slides and typing out everything. But please take it in a positive sense and think that you have a chance of going through the video lessons over and over again. Whereas in the classroom situation, you will not have an opportunity to listen to my lecture over and over again. Only once I will teach. If you have doubts only, I will be able to clarify. Otherwise, you get an opportunity only once. But whereas when you go through the video lessons, it is there on your mobile and you can go through it any number of time that you want. Okay. So be cheerful. Think that you can achieve everything. Okay. Always think positive, girls. Then only we will be able to do wonders and achieve greater things in our life. God bless you, children. Thank you.